All right, Libra. These ones are a little difficult. So this week from Lay Vampire, you pulled the past to prison. Bitterness, grudge, and refusal to let go. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled perfection. Now, the past to prison, the blessing says you now have a chance to free yourself from the sadness and misery of another, and to set a wonderful example of how to live freely without bitterness and regret. Working with this card talks about needing to find those who have suffered and who have moved on, for they may have something to teach. Now, with perfection, though, I feel like the reason why the past to prison is there is because either, there is something from your past that you're unable to let go of, which is, causing you to be hard on yourself here with perfection, or somebody else is not living up to your high standards. The very first quote for this says, I have the same high standards for myself as I have for others. The inspiration says, are you being too hard on yourself and consequently on others? Begin to look for what's right and good in your world, and you will see it. The personal question says, where am I presently focusing? Knowing what's right and telling others about it may not be the best way of being. The key ideas are alienating others, feeling alienated, seeking perfection, deeply desiring love, and transformation ahead. So, again, for some of you, it's going to be something in the past that's blocking you from, seeking. All right, Libra, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. Shit. Man. The Three of Swords. The Three of Swords being in the present. This is talking about heartbreak, betrayal, separation. Now, man, I hate that damn card. Now, for some of you, this could be some heartbreak that has to do with the past, looking at the past of prison. For a lot of you, you already know what this is. This isn't something that, is going to happen to you that you don't expect. It's like, when I see it as a signifier, I feel more like needing to get to the heart of the matter, right? That's why that's a part of that card. Now, we'll see what is happening around this. But for a lot of you dealing with some extreme difficulties here, and that card really depicts it. And in the past, the Four of Wands, oof. Now, for some of you, this could literally be, some really negative things happening within, relationships here, looking at the Four of Wands. Because when I look at the Four of Wands, I think of, the marriage, right? The union, the commitment, the strong foundation. It's like in the past you had a strong foundation. And even if it doesn't have anything to do with a relationship, it's saying that, there may be something really difficult that has happened here that may have, caused some instability with your own foundation here. The Four of Wands, again, actions, right? The wands, it's the action that takes place. When you're looking at the Four of Wands, it's talking about being able to take a minute to celebrate the work that you've done. But when you're looking at the Three of Swords, that ain't happening. Ooh, in the present, the High Priestess. Shit. Now, the High Priestess being in present conditions can talk about, some hidden knowledge here that's being revealed to you, and it's causing some heartbreak, or has caused heartbreak. For some of you, it could just be things that you're keeping secret from other people, though, too, because I kind of feel like that. It's like you're not... It almost has like a Seven of Swords type of feel. Now, on the other hand, it is about paying attention to the intuition here. I see things being reflected off of the mirror there with this High Priestess. But it is talking about, secretive information here, hidden knowledge, hidden wisdom. The High Priestess as an action is saying that, you need to observe what is happening around you to understand why it's happening. When we're quiet and we're silent and we're just observing, that is when, the intuition starts to kick in and we get that information that we need. But I do feel like for some of you, you just may be keeping the secret from other people. Like not really wanting to have this known just yet. Future conditions and the truth. Yeah, the truth. So the Ace of Swords, finally getting to the truth is what I feel like for a lot of you, getting to the truth and understanding what the hell that's all about with the Three of Swords. Having truth and clarity around the situation, but it's going to be coming from, your ability to tap into your intuition here. But then again, I do think that some of you, it's like the truth eventually does come out. Whatever is being kept hidden or secret does come out. Man, your best path to follow, the Emperor. That's basically telling you that you're going to have to take a leadership position when it comes to the situation. I can't even talk right looking at this. The Emperor, getting your shit together, right? Needing to, start, I want to say owning up to why this is still here with the Three of Swords. Needing to get control over this and start moving forward. And that comes through having that mental clarity. I don't feel like this has to do with a person. I just think that the reason why, it's the Emperor and it's being a major, it's saying that, it's time to really start getting control. Like seriously needing to get control over this. But again, with the Ace of Swords, it's like you get there, you get some clarity. You get some clarity around this. In your environment, Temperance, damn. Temperance and the High Priestess. Now, when you're looking at Temperance, you're talking about patience, balance, and moderation. And a lot of people say the same thing when Temperance shows up as, I don't have patience. I want to see things right now. Well, it doesn't always work that way, Especially when it comes to getting clarity, especially around such a difficult situation, And it feels rough. It feels rough. It's like starting something and starting to see things, take shape here with the Four of Wands. You move into the High Priestess where there may have been things that were kept from you or you were keeping here. The Ace of Swords is the truth coming out directly related to the Three of Swords where you're looking at this heartbreak. But when I'm looking at Temperance in connection to the past here, it's almost saying that if you have patience with this, and when, this clarity comes to you, that Four of Wands is still there, But you need to get control. You need to get control over what is going on. Woof, your hopes and your fears. Yes, that's exactly what you need to be. The Queen of Swords, right? Kicking ass and taking names here and cutting through the bullshit and getting straight to the truth. For some of you, it may have to do with another air sign, possibly, especially looking at that Three of Swords. And then I'm looking at the sword here with the Emperor. Sorry, guys. But I do feel more like, and I love when she shows up for Libra. This is you getting to the truth. Getting to the truth of the situation here. You're cutting through the crap. You're saying what needs to be said here. But, you have to move forward with patience, though, too. Especially if some of you are dealing with a family member. I don't know why I just looked at the Emperor and kind of felt like that, I mean, yeah, besides the fact that that is the father figure in the tarot, but, for some of you, it could just be like a different family member here. I'm not seeing too much relationship stuff going on. The Four of Wands is still there, though, is what I keep going back to with Temperance. But you need to get truth and clarity around this, and it's going to come through you being able to cut through all of the bullshit, right? No more secrets, no more things being kept hidden. Everything needs to come out, right? Okay. So yeah, now here's the thing. When I do personal readings, I tell people this. I do pay attention to the astrological signs when it comes to the core cards, but there is a reason why they were given the descriptions they were when the deck was created. That to me is what's more important than the actual sign that's involved. I do pay attention to it, but as far as I'm concerned, it could be anywhere in somebody's chart, And I say this all the time, sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury for that matter. It could be anywhere, but what I'm looking at here is when you have two of the same suit, this to me is talking about a good pair. Now, in terms of the energy around you, it looks great because, again, you're cutting through the bullshit here, but not letting it affect you to the point where, the past becomes a prison, right? Because the Queen of Swords, her past is difficult. You know what I mean? Now, when you're looking at the Page of Wands, again, it goes back to the fact that the Four of Wands is still there. You may still hear some really good news here that's going to get you out of this feeling of heartbreak. And that's why Temperance is showing up. Now, I'm looking at the Fool. I'm looking at you or another person here. You taking this new path, having a little bit more faith. And, you know, you could be dealing with another person here. But in terms of you, the communication and the logical thinking is right on target. You know, in the Four of Coins, you're trying to maintain this. You know, and I've said this before when it comes to the Four of Coins. It's not just about Scrooge. It's not just about holding on to things too tightly, which, yeah, absolutely, that's what you're doing there. But it's also about trying to maintain your status. That's one of the big things with the Four of Coins or the Four of Pentacles. It's about trying to maintain what you have. And there it is. And you still have it. It's just needing to get past the heartbreaking things that are going on right now. Right? And again, not letting the past hold you a prisoner. Wow, Libra. You look okay coming out of this. You do. You know, I feel like you're going to be okay. You're going to have some clarity. This situation will be cleared up for you. There's going to be, you know, a new path for you. You're still trying to hang on to what you had, which absolutely makes sense here. But, you know, again, you're doing it with clarity, right? You just have to be patient. You have to be patient. My goodness. All right, Libra, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. And be open. Wow. Yes, be open. Especially if you have some really good news coming through here that's going to open up a new path for you, where you might be able to keep maintaining, you know, that stability you were working for to begin with here in the past. Now, integration, the mind, the body, and the spirit going in the same direction. That's so important when it comes to manifesting the things that you want. You have to be open. You have to be open to the fact that there is a way through to the truth and that clarity and getting back to, you know, what you're trying to work toward here. Because it's like you're trying to maintain it, but needing to be open to better things too. Wow, Libra. All right. We're going to take a look at Whispers of Love to see what messages we can get for you guys in terms of love. Okay. Oh my God. Have faith. Trust your faith in this situation. I felt like I needed to cut it a little bit deeper, but then it slipped out and it was just one card and I'm like, no, that can't be right, is it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Okay. Oh my God, back to what you love. Your current situation is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. My goodness, my goodness. So getting back to what you love, what makes you happy, and having faith that you will get there. I'm telling you, that Four of Wands is still there. You know, when you come out looking a lot better than the way you came into this. You just need to have patience, right? You need to have patience. You need to get control over the situation. You have the truth. But then you also have something good coming to you out of all of this, though, too, on top of that. All right, Libra, so what I'm looking at here is some heartbreak surrounding the past. It's like you started something in the past here, but there's some heartbreak involving it. You know, but it's like you're getting to an understanding of why the Three of Swords is still there and definitely needing to get control over it, right? And for some of you, I do feel like there's a need here to kind of like own up to what's happening. Now, in terms of the High Priestess, definitely I feel like either you are keeping things kept hidden or this is somebody else, but you're still having clarity. And it's like you need to have patience with the clarity that's coming to you when it comes to the Three of Swords. But I do feel like, though, for some of you, you're not wanting to have everything out in the open just yet, which is understandable. Now, you get that clarity. When I'm looking at the Queen of Swords, you know, again, not letting your past hold you a prisoner, but still being able to cut through the crap and get straight to the point. But you don't want to let the past hold you back. And now, with the Page of Wands, first of all, you're looking at exciting new messages here. And then you come in with the Fool and needing to have faith, right? Needing to have faith in the new path. And it's funny because it's like you're getting back to what you love. Because that Four is still there. The Four of Wands is still there. You still have an ability to build off of what you had in the past, and it's coming back. Even though you have had heartbreaks surrounding it. Now, looking at the King of Swords and the Four of Coins, again, you're trying to maintain this. Absolutely. Now, for some of you, you could be dealing with another air sign here, looking at the King of Swords. But, you know, in terms of your own energy, it's about thinking clearly. Because, again, you do have that clarity, right? It's just about you getting back to what you love and having faith, which, you know, is the kicker there with Whispers of Love. Now, in terms of the soul trees, right? Truth, being open to the truth, but integration, needing to get everything going in the same direction. You know, so that you can start to take that new path and have faith in it. But, you know, when it comes to perfection, again, you need to be careful about being hard on yourself and being hard on others, especially if they're not meeting your high standards. But you can't let the past hold you back here. You know, and I really do think that you guys are coming to an understanding now of why this is still present. Why is it still there? And again, getting clarity over this. But you have to have faith. You have to have faith in the new beginning and getting back to what you love.